Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to my hungry athletes worldwide. This is your coach Chaz coming to you live. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm rough on purpose. I chose to do this podcast right after a run, right after a sweaty workout, because I was just like, I need to be in that field. I need to have my blood pumping. I need to get back to what it was to being a hungry athlete and where I was when I first began this podcast, back to when the podcast was doing the strongest in 2020. I got to go back to that feeling. I got to go back to that original feel of how I did the podcast when I first started. And so if you're new to the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. We have many episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find me. And so I just want to get into this podcast and let you know that every step that you take might not be forward. Every step that you take might not be forward. And the reason why I want you to know that is because sometimes we take a misstep or what we perceive as a misstep in our lives. Sometimes we gotta go and move back in with our families after we graduate, or we move in back with our families after a breakup or after a move to a new city and, things didn't just work out. Sometimes those steps that we may perceive as missteps are just side steps. They're side steps to what's going to be greater, to what's actually made for you. And so if you know what your end goal is, sometimes you're going to have to change your location. That's part of it. Sometimes you can't stay at your parents' house, or maybe you do have to stay at your parents' house to work on your goals. I know right now I'm at my parents' house, I'm at my mom's house, and I've been here since I graduated because I'm working on just building a foundation. The market isn't really geared towards folks, one, of my color, and two, the market isn't geared towards people who aren't prepared or people who don't have multiple streams of income. If I don't prepare myself in a way to have multiple streams of income, to be settled and have like more income coming in, say if I do lose a job or if I do have an ailment or something happens to me, just anything happens to me and I can't work in the same capacity that I needed to, I have to work on those different things, and I'm working on building myself, building on what I need to work on. And so also when you're learning about yourself, when you're learning about where you want to go, it's easy to say, oh man, like I failed, or it'll never happen. It's easy to say those things, but it's really brave of you. It's amazing of you to even have those aspirations. So if you even think about the top 3 goals or the top 5 goals that you have and how you want it to bring you someplace further, or you can just imagine like how your life would be, that takes bravery. Those thoughts take bravery. And for you to have those thoughts, you should be able to execute it into the real life, because that's what's meant for you. What you really want is meant for you, but you got to evaluate what you want. You got to really evaluate what you want. And so I'm sharing with you guys today that, I had some issues with myself where I didn't really think I was going. I knew where I was going, but the pace that I was going at and just the level that I was doing it at, I was getting impatient. I was getting unsatisfied with the results. It's just, I was working on things every day and I got impatient with myself. I wasn't letting it work. I wasn't letting the compounding work for itself. I wasn't actually paying attention to what it is that I actually wanted. And so if you say you want something, whether it's to have a job, whether it's to have an amazing body, to start up a YouTube and get monetized, or even just just have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, are you placing yourself in that position to do that thing? Or are you putting in enough hours to that YouTube page or to apply to jobs or even in your craft so that you can qualify for that position? Do you feel like you qualify for your dream girl? Do you feel like you qualify for your dream job right now? And if the answer is no, maybe you're actually not prepared. You answered it yourself. You answer the question yourself. Not every step that you take is going to be what you perceive as going forward. Sometimes you're going to have to not work out 5-6 times a week if you realize you're not actually working on your what you actually say what you want to work on. You know, there are certain things where we can distract ourselves so much, whether it's with YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Hulu, Netflix, Crunchyroll, whatever you're watching at. We distract ourselves with all these different platforms, and we might put a disguise on working on our business as just blindly scrolling on the feed. Like, we don't want to blindly work on our business. We want to be focused. We want to be focused on ourselves. We want to focus on whether it's getting closer to ourselves, getting closer to the spirit, getting closer to that job that you say you want to do. You need to bring yourself closer to that, because every day you never know when you're going to go. In the last podcast, I talked about you're going to die. You know, if you're not certain, if you are not 100% certain that you can live tomorrow, which nobody is, nobody's 100% certain. Even if, I mean, maybe if you stayed inside, but who knows, like, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And so work on your dream right now. Work on that thing that you love right now, so that, you know, when you take those different steps, you know, you're working on it in different capacity. You know, it becomes, you put on a different lens. That's what I really want y'all to think about. If you put on a lens of, okay, is this action, or is what I'm doing right now really adding towards my passion, or is it, as I would say, am I living through God, or is this action coming through God, or am I doing destructive habits, or am I doing something self-destructive that doesn't really help me out in the end? And so those are questions you got to ask yourself. Those are things you got to do. And sometimes I want you to know, like, these past couple weeks, I haven't been working out every day. I haven't been. And, you know, am I satisfied? No. Am I happy? Probably not. But it's like, when I do these different things, when I challenge myself more, I promise you, when I challenge myself more, it gives me more purpose. And so if you can just challenge yourself in a way, or just figure out, hey, like, I know it's scary, but if I could just work on it little by little each day, maybe in 2-3 months, or not even maybe in 2-3 months, in 2 or 3 months, you're going to be in a completely different place. You'll be in a completely different mind frame. You'll be in a completely different state of mind, and you'll be able to understand your world just a little better. So it's okay. It's all right. I'm telling you, Coach Chaz is letting you know that it is okay. Not every single step that you take is going to be a step forward. And if you got to take some steps back, if you got to leave a job, if you got to move back in with your folks, if you got to save up $10,000 because you know you got to buy this material, or you got to buy a machine for your business, or if you know you got to just straight up start an LLC, do it. Take those steps. Not every step that you perceive as you falling down is really you falling down. You know, a lot of people, they talk about how their lowest moments are their breakthroughs, or their lowest moments are in the present. They might be overwhelmed. They might be just really unhappy with what's going on, but they speak about how those moments really made them in the future. So what's a moment that you could take where those just dives, how can you dive into the pool? How can you just, instead of putting your toe into the pool, how can you dive into the pool and go into your new life, into your new passion? So if you listen to the podcast all the way through, please leave a like. Please subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to. But I'm going to be out. I appreciate y'all. Stay positive. Stay blessed. Peace.